In the autumn, we left Birmingham behind and flew into Cork, the gateway to Ireland's wild Atlantic way. From here, we set out on an epic 7-day road trip across the rugged coastline, winding through colourful villages, dramatic cliffs, and some of the most breathtaking scenery Ireland has to offer. This is the Wild Atlantic Way. Now let's go. After landing in Cork, we picked up a hire car and headed straight to our B&B for the night, Kilcatton Lodge, a quiet, cosy spot that made the perfect base to ease into the trip. Once we settled in, we took a short drive to the coast and arrived in Courtmacsherry, a peaceful village with beautiful views across the bay. For dinner, we stopped at the Courtmacsherry Hotel. Elaine went for a proper roast dinner and I tucked into a classic burger. Simple, delicious and exactly what we needed after a day of travelling. With full stomachs and the sun dipping over the water, we called it a night, ready for the adventure ahead. Day 2 began with our first real treat of coastal Ireland. We're headed towards Bantry, of course taking the scenic route. Our first stop was Galley Head, where the waves rolled gently below us and a small group of seals played in the water. A perfect start to the morning. From there we drove to Long Strand and took a peaceful walk along the beach. Just us, the wind, and miles of Atlantic coastline. Next up was the Drumbeg Stone Circle, one of Ireland's most famous ancient sites. Standing among the stones that have been there for thousands of years is always a surreal feeling. We carried on, stopping regularly for more coastal views, and naturally to admire our hire car for the week, which had already become part of the adventure. Then came one of the highlights of the day, Baltimore Beacon. We parked up and hiked to the top with stunning views in every direction. The beacon itself was much bigger than we expected. And from the top we could see the coastal route we'd soon be driving. Back in Baltimore Village, we wandered around the colourful buildings and harbour before continuing west. Our final stop was Mizen Head Signal Station, one of the most dramatic places on the Wild Atlantic Way. We crossed the famous bridge, explored the old signal station, and just took in those incredible cliff views that seemed to stretch forever. As the day closed, we grabbed a tea for two at the same spot and soaked in the last light over the ocean. The perfect end to a packed, unforgettable day. Day 3 began just outside of Bantry, and the weather couldn't have been better. We packed up the car, left our B&B behind, and aimed for one of the most rugged corners of Ireland, the Beara Peninsula, with Dursey Island as our first big stop. The drive alone was stunning. Bantry Bay stretched out beside us, and we kept pulling over just to soak in the views. Every bend reveals something new: cliffs, bays, tiny cottages tucked into the hillsides. Eventually we arrived at Dursey Island. We hiked up a hill to get a better view of the coastline, though the caution tick sign definitely kept us on our toes. From the top of the Garnish Loop, the views were unbelievable. We could even see all the way towards the Ring of Kerry, our destination later that day. We drove on, but the Beara Peninsula kept on surprising us. At Ballybunion Lower Bay Beach, we stopped again. This time to sit on the sand, watch the waves and enjoy a bit of peaceful scenery before continuing our journey. From there we carried on across Beara's winding roads, eventually reaching Kenmare, the official start of the legendary Ring of Kerry. Our next stop was Scenic, a colourful village full of little shops and cafés. We took a short walk and treated ourselves to ice creams, because at this point it was becoming a road trip tradition. Derrynane Bay was next, where we stretched our legs again and enjoyed the clear water and sweeping views. It's one of those beaches that doesn't even look real. We then stopped in Waterville and we made a quick stop to see the Charlie Chaplin statue, a reminder of how many artists and filmmakers have been inspired by this coastline. As we continued west, we pulled over once more to catch a glimpse of Skellig Michael and Little Skellig, dramatic isolated islands that featured in Star Wars. Seeing them in person, rising straight up from the sea, was unforgettable. And with the sun beginning to set, we finally made our way to our B&B for the night, ending a long but amazing day on the Wild Atlantic Way. Day 4 began with a little road trip humour. We compared our trusty hire car with an old Morris Minor van, and thankfully we were happy with our choice of transport. With the car loaded, we set off towards the Kerry Cliffs, arriving early to enjoy the views with almost no one around. Our first stop was the Beehive Village, an ancient settlement perched along the cliffs. From there we walked along the stretch of Kerry Cliffs, taking in the rugged coastline, wild Atlantic waves and that fresh Irish air. It's one of those places that makes you feel small in the best possible way. Next, we drove to Valentia Island, crossing the bridge to the visitor centre before parking for Brayhead Tower Walk. The climb rewarded us with spectacular clear views in every direction, a perfect vantage point to appreciate the scale of this coastline. We continue to Geocorn Mountain and Foyer Cliffs. Where we stumbled upon the tetrapod trackway, fossilised footprints from 385 million years ago. Walking along cliffs that hold such ancient history really puts your own journey into perspective. Instead of retracing our route over the bridge, we opted for a short ferry ride back to the mainland. Less than €10 and far more scenic, with the sea stretching out on either side. With the River of Kerry adventure continuing, we headed for Killarney National Park and took a walk to Tork Waterfall. The path through the forest opens up to the cascading water, serene surroundings, an absolute delight. We then made a quick stop at Ladies View. Though limited parking meant we couldn't linger too long, the vista was still breathtaking. Our final stop in the Ring of Kerry was Ross Castle. We explored the castle grounds and along the nearby coastline, capturing the dramatic scenery one last time before heading into town. As evening fell, we arrived at our B&B in Killarney. We dropped off our bags and walked into town for dinner. The Laurels offered a fantastic atmosphere and delicious food, the perfect way to refuel. After dinner, we explored Killarney's lively streets and even popped into the famous Reedy's pub, where locals and visitors alike were enjoying a great night out. Another incredible day on the Wild Atlantic Way came to a close as we headed back to our B&B, ready to rest for the adventures ahead. Day 5 took us west, across some of Ireland's most iconic scenery, the Dingle Peninsula. Our first stop was Inch Beach, where we were lucky enough to park right on the sand. We enjoyed a stunning walk along the shoreline, watching horseback riders trotting along the waves, and we even captured some drone shots of the sweeping beach. Truly a perfect start to the day. Continuing along the peninsula, we couldn't resist stopping for the views. The Atlantic rolled endlessly beside us, cliffs dropped dramatically into the sea, and every turn felt like a postcard. At Minard Beach and Castle, the scenery was equally breathtaking. Huge rounded pebbles lined the shore, and the castle perched above added that touch of Irish history against a wild coastal backdrop. Eventually, we reached the town of Dingle, a colourful, lively little place that perfectly captures the spirit of the peninsula. We wandered through the streets, filmed the outside of a few pubs, and learnt a fun fact: there's roughly one pub for every 40 people in Dingle. Naturally, another ice cream break was in order before hitting the road again. Back on the Wild Atlantic Way, we made our way to Slee Head and walked to Dunmore Head, the most westerly point in Europe. The weather was perfect, the views were dramatic, and standing there with the Atlantic stretching out in every direction was truly unforgettable. Next stop was Doon Pier. We carefully made our way down the steep walkway, rewarded with stunning views of the Great Blasket Islands rising from the sea. Truly some of the most iconic scenery on the peninsula. We circled back to Dingle for a bite to eat, then we made our way to Anconair, our final stop of the peninsula for the day. With the wild Atlantic way behind us for now, we drove to our hotel, the Ballyrow Heights Hotel, and settled into a lovely room ready to rest after another day packed with adventure. Day 6 started the Irish way with a hearty breakfast to fuel another day on the wild Atlantic way. Our car had been parked down the steps of the lower car park, and after loading the car, we were ready to hit the road. Our first stop was Banna Beach, a quiet windswept stretch of sand with stunning views, and to our left the Dingle Peninsula stretched out into the Atlantic. Walking along the shore, it felt like we had the entire beach to ourselves. Continuing on, we reached Ballybunion, where we took a walk along another beautiful beach. The waves crashed along the shore, and off to the right we spotted the ruins of Ballybunion Castle. We just couldn't resist walking up towards the castle to explore and soak in the scenery. Next we stopped at Carrigafoyle Castle, a 15th century fortress perched near the estuary. We climbed the steps to the top. The views across the water were spectacular. We even captured some drone footage of the castle, perfectly framing its dramatic ruins against the backdrop of the Atlantic. And with that, we wrapped up day 6, another day filled with Ireland's stunning beaches, historic castles and endless views of the wild Atlantic coast. It was our final day, and it began with a bittersweet feeling. We had a plane to catch back to Birmingham, so we decided to cut across country for the last leg of our journey. But of course, there were still a few stops to make along the way. First up was the legendary Blarney Castle. We wandered around the historic stone walls and of course couldn't resist kissing the Blarney Stone. For the gift of eloquence, or maybe just for fun. We even braved the slippery wishing steps, walking backwards with our eyes closed, and laughed our way through the challenge. After that, we spent some time exploring the beautiful gardens and taking in the peaceful grounds one last time. Our final stop was Charles Fort in Kinsale. We looked around the star-shaped fortress, soaking in the views of the harbour, and found a quiet spot to sit, relax and reflect on the past 7 days. From Cork-to-Kerry along the wild Atlantic way, we'd driven winding roads, walked rugged cliffs, explored castles and ruins and discovered some of Ireland's most incredible scenery. We hope you really enjoyed our journey. Don't forget to hit that like button, feel free to leave a comment, and if you haven't already, don't forget to follow for future adventures. Bye for now.